you might have noticed that I have a new hat today.
It looks nice.
Yeah, this is a rally cap. Know why?
Because we're gonna rally.
I'm really tired today.
You're trying to rally?
I'm trying to rally. I got my rally cap on and everything.
Looks good.
Yeah. I hope that everybody else likes it. It feels like I have Donald Duck on my head or Daffy Duck on my head.
Looks nice.
Yeah. So all right.
Why do you think you're so tired?
Because I've been getting up early, sir.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. I got my regular hat on, my regulation hat on. Is it about time here to go? Let's just start. I don't think Ike was going to do anything today. So, hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars, and I do not have laryngitis or a cold, but I was screaming and hollering last night at the Hoot Nanny, and I'm tired.
The Hoot Nanny?
Yeah, the Hoot Nanny, sir.
Hoot Nanny?
Well, there was Hawk Attack practice last night. And the reason I bring that up is, one, my voice is kind of a little bit dodgy. But it's because I was screaming and yelling and I didn't have a microphone. Because as you know, Chris, I don't need to have a microphone to be heard over a bunch of loud guitars and drums and stuff. So I threw my voice out though. And I've been getting up early all week, and I'm just a little sleepy today after, because we have been kind of going full blast. So how have you been, Chris? Tell me what you've been up to, and then I'm going to tell you what I've been up to today.
I worked on the 335 project today, mostly.
The StewMac 335 one?
Yeah.
So is it safe to say that that's going to be tomorrow's reveal?
Yeah. We can do that.
So here's what it's, so Chris filmed the video for Sunday today, and it is him doing the assembly work on the StewMac 335 kit. If you follow us on Instagram, you've probably already seen the pictures. And tomorrow we're going to kind of show it off a little bit. Furthermore, the guy who is one of the guitar players in the band that I'm in, Brett Hagen, if you guys know Hawk Attack, you know Brett. Brett's never played the guitar, but nobody's ever played the guitar except for you and me a little bit.
Yeah.
Brett's going to play it tomorrow night at Odyssey Beer Works, the great American Beer Works, and for at least a couple tunes for the Hawk Attack show. Now, how many people can say, I'm so, I feel so positive about this guitar, I'm just going to hand it to somebody at a gig, go play.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That, like, how many people do that?
I don't think very many people do that.
First of all, you gotta be a confident guitar player to do that. You know what I mean? Which Brett is. And you have to be
we've played this game before.
Hand guys anything, and the real guitar players will just, I'll play it. I don't care.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Brett's always up for anything.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice guitar.
Let's take a quick super chat from our friend Doc Siltonen, who says, cheers for beers. God bless you, Doc. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. So thanks for joining us today, you guys. There's a lot of people hanging out with us. And I have been, look, Rusty Fenders is here.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And Gary Redburn is here. Van Shank Guitars is here. Sean Joint is here. Lefty O is here. Our good friend Brian Duncan is here. He just gave us $100.
Really?
Well, either that or it's 10. I can't really see.
Looks like 10 to me.
Brian wants to know if we'll play his favorite song tomorrow. And of course, we always play everyone's favorite song.
Because everybody's favorite Hawk Attack song is.
Well, I don't know. I don't care. We always play everyone's. Half the people who've ever heard Hawk Attack, one of the Hawk Attack songs is their favorite song. So yeah. 50% of you, Hawk Attack's your favorite band, probably. I'm just guessing here. So anyway, so you have to be a competent guitar player and a confident guitar builder to just go here, play this at a gig. I think it was pretty it's pretty wild to go, here's this kit.
Yeah.
And we're gonna hand it to some guy and he's gonna rock out. So but yeah, so the reveal tomorrow will be the StewMac 335. The video on Sunday will be assembly the 335. And kind of Chris and I talking about what we would do the same, what we would do different, et cetera, et cetera. Yes?
Yeah, we're going to do that in the reveal tomorrow.
We'll do them both.
Okay.
How about that?
Sure.
And then we're gonna Brett will be filmed. So it's not just me lying to you, telling you that Brett's gonna do. We're actually gonna have film video evidence of Brett playing it live, right?
We'll film it. We'll put some on YouTube.
Yeah.
Put some on the Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did it go?
It went fine.
It's always kind of like a three hands and
yeah. It's always weird. Filming and doing stuff, especially assembly stuff, because I just feel like I'm all over the guitar, and I probably am.
Okay.
So a lot of the back of my arm.
And an arch top with no control cavity cover per se is tricky too, because you have very little space to work with. You have to feed little things through little holes, and
and I've done repairs on arch tops before. And taken out a pot and put a new one in or clean it or something like that. But I never wired all of it like this. So
if I was smart,
it didn't take long for me to do it. It probably only took 2 hours, 2.5 hours to completely assemble it. But between being on film and never having done it, it felt like it was longer.
You know what tool we could have used, and if I was really smart, I would have put this as the StewMac tool of the day, but I didn't, because I kind of forgot what time it was. And we looked up and, oh my gosh, it's time to do this. They have a tool, link in the description below, gang. Yeah. Go to StewMac, follow the link in the description and check it out. It's called Jack the Gripper. And it's a way to hold an output jack and tighten the nut without having to have a hand come through the back and hold the nut or hold the output jack. So.
Yep. Yeah, and it's one thing to.
Is it an output jack or an input jack?
It's an output jack because it's taking the sound and outing it to the amp.
Out you go.
Yeah, not putting anything into the guitar. You are the input jack.
Yes, Sir David Dangerous brought one.
Jack.
Sir David Dangerous brought his Jack the Gripper, and we were gonna have that be StewMac tool of the day, and I just forgot.
Yeah, and I was gonna steal it, and I just forgot.
And I don't have one.
No,
I should get one.
You should totally get one. Yeah. That would be would have been a handy item. I was, it was okay, and then everything else was pretty straightforward as far as assembly.
Cool.
So yeah.
So I have been doing 5-ply binding all week. For some reason or another, there's a bunch of guitars with 5-ply binding, and I finally got them all bound. And all the necks the headstocks are 5-ply binding, the necks are 5-ply binding, the bodies are 5-ply binding. So I finally got all that stuff done. And necks are radiused, and now I need to fret all these 5-ply bound necks, as well as a bunch of other necks. And we've got a pile of necks and bodies looking in front of us. We've got a pile of things that are very close to being done, but tomorrow is not going to be a day to do anything except clean the shop. Wah, wah, wah.
And it needs it.
You know who should come in and help us clean the shop?
Anybody that wants to.
I was going to say specifically Jim Jam Jimmy, because he is one of the guys who helped make the mess.
I was going to say because he volunteered to come in and help clean.
Yeah. Oh, did he? I think he may have.
Week. Yeah.
He may have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I worked on basses this week.
Brian Duncan says that he gave us $100. Laura is listening. Actually, he says, "Don't I gave you $100?" So I think he means, "Don't you mean I gave you $100?" So yeah.
Yeah. Just bring us cash next time.
Yeah.
When it's big
whatever.
Bills like that. Yeah.
Jeff Regan says appreciation for the beautiful Stratathon strats. Thank you, Jeff.
Good. I'm glad you got them.
He got those. Yeah, that's right. He bought the Surf Burst green and the Surf Burst. I know you don't like to say pink, but it's pink. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. When in doubt, go to the most common denominator, and that's pink.
Well, because quite frankly, it wasn't just green. Like when I think of green, I don't think of that. It wasn't, but yeah, it's Surf Burst green and Surf Burst pink.
Sure.
All right. So before we get to today's topic, guys, we have something I need to know. One of you knows. Do you know?
I don't know.
Do you know? I don't know, but I need to find out who sent us this cheese. Why'd you guys say? Yeah, somebody sent us cheese.
It's
one of you knows who sent it.
It's 7 different kinds of cheese: pepper jack, tomato, basil, Swiss, cheddar salami, and smoked Gouda, or Gouda and smoked cheddar.
Doc wants to know if one of the bases is his, and in fact,
Yes.
one of the bases is his.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't get them finished. That was one of the goals for the week, and it just didn't happen. There was an incident yesterday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, Rusty Fenders wants to know when and where is Hawk Attack playing. So we're playing tomorrow night at Odyssey Beer Works, the great American Beer Works, in Arvada, Colorado. I think we go on at 9, so it's gonna be an early show. I can't stay out late anymore.
They're not open all that late.
No, which is good. It's almost perfect for me because if I could go on at like 6 and be home and in bed by 8:30,
yeah.
Fine. Yeah, that's what I'm into now.
Yep. We used to play a place, and they had a dinner thing, and they didn't pay us a whole lot.
Yep.
And we wanted more money, and they said no. And I said, well, how about dinner?
Okay.
And they said okay. So we would play, and then they would give us a burger.
Where was that?
Rockabilly's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would
paid us a little bit, and then we got a burger. And I thought that was an
okay. That's I mean, I like burgers a lot.
Good burgers there. Yeah.
Chris, speaking of, I've got 2 questions for you. One, in your opinion, who has the best burger in the Denver metro area?
Man, I don't know.
I'm gonna say Park Burger has the best burger.
You think Park Burger?
Yeah, I think it's awfully good.
I don't know. I think when we went to my brother's bar, that burger was good.
Yeah, that was good too. And Brothers Bar's been around longer than Park Burger.
There's another place that I can't remember. It might be Park Burger. I don't know. There's several good burgers, and there's several burgers.
Okay, sub question, Chris. In your opinion, who's the greatest classic rock guitarist of all time between, like, in the classic rock radio era? So I would say like anything before, let's say before 1980.
Okay.
And anything but like after the Beatles, because you don't really hear the Beatles on classic rock radio all that often.
Yeah, I'll go with Eddie Van Halen.
That's a go. Yeah, he awfully good, but I think you might be forgetting some other great ones too.
Okay.
In the era, although you don't hear him on classic rock radio all that often, Jeff Beck.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that say that it's not a contest, but Jeff Beck is better than everybody.
Put Jeff Beck 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is, of course, Billy Gibbons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know how people can forget him, but they often do.
Mm-hmm.
Brian May, I think, is a great example of a guy you hear a lot these days on classic rock radio, and he has the distinction of having built his own guitar. Someone said Stevie Ray. Oh, okay. So I'd like to know what do you guys think is that? But yeah, Eddie Van Halen certainly does.
So really, you're saying like 70 to 82.
Well, yeah, but Van Halen's right in there.
No, I know. Yeah.
Okay. Man. Oh, Leslie West. See, everybody forgets Leslie West because he's but he's a mountain of a man. Okay. So anyway, let's see. We got a bunch of people chiming in here.
Answer on this cheese dilemma.
Brian May. No, I don't think there's any. Yeah, Billy Gibbons, Jeff Beck, Tom Schultz, Buck Dharma. So who sent the cheese? Nuge, of course. Yep. Glenn Campbell. You like Glenn Campbell a lot.
I do like Glenn Campbell.
Frank Marino. Who's Frank Marino?
I'm not sure.
I don't know who Frank Marino. Jeffrey, help me out. Who's Frank Marino? And who sent us the cheese? Guys, we need to know. We need to get to the bottom of this cheese.
Because I want to eat cheese, but I also need to know who sent the cheese.
Are you just gonna when you eat that, are you just gonna just take a big chaw off it?
Yeah. Yeah, like this.
Yeah, it's cheese plug, and you just take a big wad of it. All right, here we got another
how much cheese I can get in between all my teeth.
Okay, Sean Joint says, "Hey Chris, do I spray the stain on, or what is the best way to apply it? All right. So Sean has a great question here. And he wants to know. So Sean Joint was here for the last workshop that we had. And we've got another workshop coming up on Monday. Sean wants to know, do I spray the stain on, or what is the best way to apply it?
Well, you can spray it on if it's liquidy enough to spray it on.
But why would you be spraying stain?
Or dye.
Yeah.
Well,
see, we've got a semantic issue here.
Well, yeah, there are so many questions I have.
Why don't you just tell them how to do it rather than ask a bunch of questions?
Well, okay.
Because you're the Mac.
Well,
and Brian, yes, I did.
So it depends on the kind of finish that you want to have. We do not put color of any kind on raw wood typically.
Okay.
There's only one case that we do.
That's right. Now, Sean, though, however, had Simtex sealer sprayed on his. Remember? On his BC
That's
Rich.
right.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
So regular stain that you buy at the hardware store, what would you do with that? Nothing. You can do anything with that, right?
Yeah. 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 So on Sean's guitar, I forgot he had sealer put on it. So if you want to do a translucent color, you have to mix dye, which is sort of stain, into a mid coat clear or a clear. If you're using lacquer, you can just mix it into the lacquer, clear lacquer, and spray that on. And that's how you would put it on.
Yeah.
If you tried to wipe stain onto something that had Simtech and had been sanded, it'd just wipe off.
Yeah. Here's a sub question from Michael, who writes, "Hey guys, I'm just learning how to paint and I'm hearing conflicting advice." This is going to be where it's more semantic stuff.
Okay.
People saying one thing and meaning another. So he's getting conflicting advice. Should I apply sealer or primer first when painting a solid color? So first of all, what is sealer and what is primer?
Well, so I think those two products could be one and the same.
I think so.
But sealer, typically people talk about sealers when you're talking about wood products.
Yeah.
And a product that goes on top of wood and seals the wood from absorbing the sealer or the product. Primer is typically, when I think of primer, I think of more metal uses, steel,
automotive application,
aluminum and stuff like that. Yeah, where really it's not going to soak into the metal.
Yeah.
It sits on top, but it's the first product that you put on before you put on paint. So they're probably talking about the same product.
So when in the world of guitar finishing, and we're being very specifically talking about guitar finishing, we do not spray primer.
No.
That gray stuff that
we always talk about sealer.
Yeah. So what we spray directly onto the raw wood is in fact sealer. And that acts as the priming layer for all the colors. Now, with a couple of exceptions, sometimes you'll spray an opaque color over the sealer, but not as a primer, but as an
opaque color.
Yeah. So like sometimes you'll spray white or something onto the sealer coat so that colors like yellow, you don't have to spray thousands of coats of yellow to get it. Yeah. So what's that about?
So that's just a shortcut to getting expensive colors to cover better. So that's still I guess you could call that a primer. I wouldn't call that. I'd just call it a base coat. Yeah, a white base coat with something else over the top.
Because I think what happens is people start to use terms interchangeably and say some paints, for example, will actually say on the instructions base coat of black or base coat of white or base coat of whatever, and then you spray this metallic stuff on top of it, and
I think I've even seen the words primer sealer on something.
Oh, really? Okay. So there's all kinds of stuff that it is confusing.
Yeah. So I always thought of primer as the first one. Thing you put on.
Okay. That makes sense.
I don't know if that's right or not.
But what's the difference between thinner and reducer? That's another thing that it's like,
Well, so typically thinner was they're one and the same, but I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to lacquer thinner, urethane reducer. There's no such thing as urethane thinner or lacquer reducer. So they're trying to differentiate those two different products.
So here's a question for you. Is it, I know the answer already, but some people might not.
Because I might not.
No, you definitely do. Can you just use regular old lacquer thinner as a urethane reducer?
You really shouldn't, but in small applications, like Mike Learn uses lacquer thinner to reduce his stuff when he's airbrushing.
But we're talking about like a very, very small amount.
Well, it's still 50-50 with the
is it
stuff. Yeah,
okay.
But lacquer thinner is a little bit hotter, so it melts in.
Oh, that's right.
More.
So you could, if you had like a 2-stage color coat, and you sprayed a bunch of lacquer thinner on top of it, it would bubble it right off in a lot of instances.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. One of the neat things about the Simtex sealer and the base coat is if you screw it up, you can wipe it off with lacquer thinner, and you won't hurt the Simtech. No, you'll just get the color up. And reducer does the same thing, but usually reducers are more expensive than lacquer thinner.
What do you think? And I don't know the answer to this. What do you think is the more aggressive solvent, lacquer thinner or acetone?
From what I understand, lacquer thinner is mostly acetone with some other stuff added, so it's probably acetone.
Acetone. I know that like lacquer thinner doesn't melt binding
Not
like
nearly as
acetone
well.
does.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But acetone evaporates a lot faster than lacquer thinner, and I think that's what they add to it to make lacquer thinner is some stuff to make it slower. And in the olden days, kids used to be able to buy high quality lacquer thinners in different speeds of evaporation. You can't anymore.
How many advances are there in the world of lacquer in 2023?
I think absolutely none.
Certainly not the amount
there's
of
probably
urethane.
Several steps back in lacquer thinner technology.
These would be great questions for Myths with Chris, our brand new series where we take a handful of myths. And by the way, some of you guys have sent in some ideas for myths with Chris, and one of them is lacquer. Yeah. The one we're going to be doing here coming up is spray gun setup. But so there's lots and lots and lots of paint. But the 30-second version, what's the elevator pitch for how colors and sealers and clears go on? What are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do they do?
So raw wood.
Yep.
We now use a pore filler product. Then sealer.
Yep.
Then base coat. And that can be color or translucent colors. And then clear coat.
Yep.
That's it.
There you go. How much sanding do you do to color coats?
None.
That's right.
Once you screw it up, and then you get to shoot the entire color again.
Yeah. Man, I'm kind of lost on Grudgemeyer wants to know, what is blush eraser?
So blushing is when the top coat of your lacquer dries before the inside of it does. And so you get this hazy look. And I think what blush eraser does is it re-wets that top coat and slows down that top layer of lacquer to allow the off-gassing of those lower layers. Before
I ask you this question, we want to say, hey, shout out to Michael, who's going in for pre-op stuff, kidney stone surgery tomorrow. Ow, that's a bummer.
Yuck.
I hope you get to feeling better soon, sir.
Yep.
If you have blush on your guitar, can you just smear blush eraser on it and make it go away?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Doc says Oxford Supply has 2 gloss formulations, vintage and modern. What do you think the difference is? I think I know. It's one word.
Yellow.
Yeah.
Amber.
Yeah.
Maybe. Stu Mac does that as well. They have 2 formulas for their lacquer. And the one they say is supposed to age quicker, faster, do all that stuff that people like lacquer to do, check and all that.
Yeah.
And maybe, you can, when people talk about nitrocellulose lacquer, it's not all nitrocellulose lacquer. Most of it is acrylic with a little bit of nitrocellulose in it, and the amount is probably different. And that adds a little bit of amber. Yeah. And it also changes the way that it ages.
Robbox says most manufacturers are calling lacquer thinner gun cleaner now. That's pretty much what we use lacquer thinner for.
Yeah.
Rusty Fender says we need to make hot ones episode in the shop. I'll bring spicy chicken wings and ask hard questions. We can call it the spicy Rusty Fenders. So he's going to bring in spicy food and ask us the hard hitting questions and see if we
play
can
that game.
Okay, there you go.
Don't claim to know that I'll do well, but
yeah,
I think I do okay.
Brian, I don't think that Steve, aka Robbox, is calling lacquer thinner a firearm cleaner, but he's talking about spray gun cleaner.
Spray gun, spray gun cleaner. That's what we use it for. Is cleaning spray gun equipment, because you can use that or you can use the reducer that you use with all those paints. But the reducer is a little bit more expensive.
Well, we buy 5 gallons of lacquer thinner for like $99.
It's $70 cash.
Okay, yeah. If you go to Emo's, and his kid's there,
and he wants the $70. Yeah.
Okay.
You want a receipt? Look, kid, you're stealing the money. Don't leave a paper trail for your dad to find.
Okay, well, so that was a fun, quick little half hour. But Chris, today's episode is called something, I forgot what it's even called, but I think it's something about what's the most popular, the most exciting industry trend. And did I use a different? It's all the rage. Yes, and we have never gotten to the bottom of who sent the cheese yet. So, but Chris, I want to talk to you a little bit about the most exciting industry trend that I know about today.
Okay.
Now, do you know what industry I'm talking about?
No.
You don't have to, because it transcends all industries.
Okay.
It's looking things over with a magnifying glass and seeing if you can find crap that's wrong with something. And there are people who are guilty of it. I am guilty of it. You are guilty of it. You are guilty of it too. And to a certain extent, I get it. And then after a while, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. So Ike from Flipside came in today, and he was talking about some guy bought a, I don't know, some guitar. I don't even remember what it was. And was upset because he could see like grain.
And I don't even know what he really meant.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But this fellow wanted to contact the manufacturer. It was an overseas manufacturer. Wanted to contact the manufacturer and have someone call him back so that he could tell them all the things wrong with their guitar.
Voice his disgust.
Now, I'm assuming that then ostensibly this person would scurry off to the guy who didn't do whatever his thing was correctly that one time and give him what for. And I'm thinking, what do you have to do to like, what has to be happening in your life to where you just start looking for crap that's wrong with everything? I know the answer. You get beat up at your house by your wife or your kids, or you get beat up at work or whatever. And so you want to beat people up too. I don't get it. What say ye, Chris? Have you noticed this dynamic industry trend?
Well, yeah, I think that's been a thing for about forever. And the more
it seems extra bad.
Well, now, it's gotten worse. And before, you'd go to the store and pick out the thing and look it over in the store, and either you decided you wanted it or you decided you didn't want it, and you set it back down and you left. And now, stuff shows up and it's been professionally photographed and it looks really good.
This can has some scuffing right here.
Yeah. You should have looked at that before you opened it. Now it's worth nothing.
This can has the writing isn't exactly in the center of the bottom of this. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, and I really do think there's people that they're happiest when they're not happy. And you get something and you start looking it over, and at first you're like, yeah, this is neat. And you think, well, no, there's got to be something wrong with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's mine, there's got to be something wrong with it. And so they start looking, and if you look long enough, you're going to find something.
if you go looking for something, don't be surprised when you find it.
Yeah. And so because, and and then they can tell everybody about it.
If you were going to go to the NAMM show and you were going to play the game, hey, let's see if we can find flaws in this guy's guitars. Which booth would you go to first?
Well, so that's a funny question, because I would go to
Rickenbacker every time.
Rickenbacker doesn't allow you to pick up the guitars; they're all bolted to their displays. But don't worry, you can still find them.
They really are. Yeah, for some reason or another, Rickenbacker has like the I don't remember them being bolted to the.
Yeah,
you could pick them up. I thought.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, they were, and they apparently had that same booth. So I don't remember.
They had the same booth with the same guitars.
Well, but that was an old booth even when we were there, and now it's an even older booth, and it's still the same. And people have bitched about that for a long time. They're like, I'm kind of surprised they took those guitars to the show. But we've also seen stuff like that.
We've seen the most expensive booth in the show was Fender, far and away was Fender that had electric guitars.
Oh, as far as the size of the booth, the presentation,
that was and exclusive to electric stuff. It was Fender, and remember we picked up one of those, and it was like Alder, and it was checked all the hell and gone on the end, and
and it was done in like an iced tea burst.
Yeah,
and you could see every check.
Yeah,
and it was like, I don't know that I had brought that guitar, but maybe.
So at some point you have to just go, look, sometimes there's the wabi-sabi of stuff, and it's okay that it's not perfect in your eyes. It can be perfect enough to sell and have a good time with. And what I'm getting at is, like, I'm not saying that you should put up with dodgy fretwork or a guitar that doesn't play right or isn't intonated correctly or won't intonate correctly. But at the same time, lighten up a little bit, or life is going to be a real pain in the ass, especially if you go to a fast food restaurant. Nothing looks like the picture. Okay. Let's take a quick super chat from our good friend Doug, who writes, yeah, man, I was looking at my Marauder and saw a pinhole, but when I took closer look, my amp shocked. Does Doug have one of the Marauders that we made?
An orange one.
No, I thought Rod has that one.
No,
Doug bought that. Rod wanted to buy that one. Is there a pinhole on that?
There might be.
Yeah, it could be. Dan says that he's never been pleased with a guitar he's built. Always think I could have done this or that better. Well, Dan,
I think that's almost a different issue. And I agree with you.
Yeah.
Not that you could have done better, but you get really, really, really close to stuff when you're doing it. And one of the fun things is when that thing goes away and then it comes back and you get to look at it and you don't remember any of that stuff and it looks really, really great. And then maybe you remember and you're like, oh yeah, I remember. But usually it's, in guitar building, the things get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And hopefully by the end, they're so small.
And like you are fond of saying, the bell curve gets pretty steep when it comes to like those teeny tiny things to get them all 100% right.
Yeah.
I think I could use another beer now.
Me too.
This cheese though, perfect in every way.
Yes. As far as I can see so far, we haven't opened it. So I don't know, but
yeah, please.
That's fine. Yeah.
So
what's that? I'll do one of those Peruvian beers.
Ooh, Peruvian.
I think so, in the bottles. Yeah.
So anyhow, is that the stuff that Joe Caswell brought? That's the Megadeth one.
I'll take that too.
Megadeth.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Megadeth. A tout le monde.
A tout le monde. All right.
That's what it says.
So yeah. So okay. All right.
It's not a
Brian Duncan says you like it and you know it. Everybody likes it. I don't know what Brian's talking about. Rusty Fender says it's the journey, people. I wouldn't like to be perfect because then I'm ready to die. Brian Duncan wants to know, was there a return address on the cheese? Yes, Brian, there was. Amazon.com.
Yeah.
Care of Jeff Bezos or whatever.
It came from Amazon. Yeah. It came with a gift receipt, but it didn't say who the gift was from.
Cheesy.
Well, so there is a Dave Chenzoff and I often talk about cheese and how much we like cheese. And so I think it was probably Dave.
We suspect it
Yeah,
was
I think
Dave.
it was, yeah. And I don't know if he's here or not.
I don't know.
If he is, he'll probably send me a text later on and say it was me. It didn't have a bunch of candy in it. If it had a bunch of candy,
we would know.
It was Dave.
Dave's brother from another mother, Doug Santaniello, says, in other words, when I look too close, someone kicked me in the rear, so I don't bother to look too closely at things.
Yeah. Well,
see now, Doug knows what's up.
If you like something and you don't want to like it, start looking really, really close at it until you find something you don't like about it. That's the weird part about it. That's usually what happens. They get it. They're like, man, this is really neat. Upon closer inspection. Why'd you inspect it closer, man?
Why didn't you just have a good time with it and enjoy it? Eat the hamburger, play the guitar, drive the car, ride the bike, whatever it is.
So, and
Oh, and things show wear. Sometimes things like things that are designed to be used sometimes show wear. Brad Hutchings said this Fender custom shop isn't Relic enough. It was way up. I just remembered that. Yeah. Do you think that? Remember, were you there? You were when Brett and you and I think Richard Ryan and maybe Maui went with us to the Fender Custom Shop Road show. And Brett said, if I drop this Relic guitar, is it worth more money or less money? And
what if I scratch my Relic? And then we talked about the Eddie Van Halen guitars and how they should have a yearly send it back and get the latest updates.
This was a thing that I had said since those guitars came out. In fact, I sent this to you know who I sent this to? Alex from Zachary Guitars, because he and I love the idea of pre-beat up stuff. And I haven't talked to that guy for a while. I have never met him. I have talked with him in email many times. And I think I talked to him on the phone one time, although I think he didn't tell me who he was. I think I talked to him in any event. And I don't know what he's up to these days, but I really like his style. Kiki, if you're listening, I really like his guitars, and I'm inspired oftentimes by what he does. Not like what you might think of necessarily, but like I'm blown away at the stuff that this guy does. Anyway, but we were talking about the notion of the at the time, and this was, gosh, when did those come out, Chris? It had to have been 15 years ago, if it was a year ago. And they were the exact replicas of the Eddie Van Halen Franken Strat.
Yes. And they were big money.
They were $25,000 back then. And there was 100 of them made, or they were $100,000 and there was 25 of them. I can't remember. And you can go and watch this video of Eddie Van Halen with the guy who made them. And he was blown away at how accurate they were. So much so that he had to write on the back of his neck, "This is the real one," in like giant letters with a Sharpie. You remember that?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, if he did that to his guitar and you had one of these things that cost $25,000 and it didn't say "this is the real one" on the back, you need to send that in and get the upgrade, right? So I think for like $1,000 a year, or let's say $5,000 a year, you could get every little teeny tiny nick and ding and scratch that was on the actual one. You could send your guitar back and they would put it all on there so that all of them looked identical in every way.
Yeah, because presumably the real one didn't stop getting relicked. I mean, he tossed it around and stuff still.
I wonder if he still owned it. Yeah,
just because he didn't take it out and play it.
Yeah,
didn't mean that it didn't get more dings in it. So but the good thing was, if you missed a year, you were done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You had to
keep up with the program. Yeah. If you missed a year then that guitar was delisted.
Yep.
As suitable for more dents.
Sorry.
Yeah. We see you missed last year. Yeah. Well, it was a really tough year.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Kid in college. Sorry.
Yeah. It sucks to suck.
Yeah. I should have thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is more important, your kid's education or the
updated Eddie Van Halen guitar? It's hard to think of a guitar that's more infamous than that one, though. You know what I mean? I'm sure there are some, but boy, that one
and the Stevie Ray Vaughan #1. Those are the two.
What is John Cruz trying to sell the original Stevie Ray Vaughan replica?
120 grand or something like that. Yeah,
Lord
the
have
original
mercy.
replica.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Well, I wonder if he's still making those. I don't know.
I don't know either.
So Chris, tell me, are you excited about this this next week that's coming up starting on Monday?
Yeah.
I mean, most weeks start on Monday, but yeah. So tell me so you know who could have sent this cheese? This could be Dean's lunch next week. I don't know.
We need to wait before we
probably need to wait. Dean might be like, hey, where's my cheese? Yeah.
I'm on a cheese diet. That's my new thing.
That's your new thing, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Looks like Jimmy's in the house.
Good.
Hanging out. Hey, what's that?
He just found out he's cleaning here.
Oh, did you tell him, Mr.?
No,
Somebody else told him. Okay.
Good.
All right.
Good.
Yeah. So Jim, if you're available tomorrow, which we know you are, why don't you come over and help us clean the shop for a little bit? Maybe there could be some cold beers.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because it's the same class that we taught last month, that we were a part of last month. It's the same workshop.
Yeah.
That we participated in last month.
So Dean is going to be here. Doug is going to be here. Paul is going to be here. And some people that I've never met before. So that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, 3 people that we know and like, and 2 new people
that we will know and like equally.
I'm sure we'll know and like.
Yeah.
We will know them.
We haven't had anybody come to a workshop that's been a total dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Total? No.
Total dick.
No.
No, everybody who comes to our workshops is cool. And why wouldn't they be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. We talked about StewMac tool of the day, Jack the Gripper. Go on to stewmac.com in the description below and get you one of those. And it will make life easier. I know it will. And you know what? I'm going to heed my own advice. I'm going to go on to StewMac and buy one tonight, Jack the Gripper.
Okay.
Because we could have used it today.
We could have. Yeah.
So what else, Chris?
I had to make my own.
Your phone's blowing up.
Yeah.
You're like Mr. Popular.
Yeah, sure. I had to improvise my own Jack the Gripper.
So
a pair of pliers.
Guys, as you know, we are sponsored by Stuart McDonald. And if you use the link in the description below, it doesn't cost you any more money, but we get a little taste of that. And there's all kinds of stuff that makes life way easier. And if you're watching Kiki, it makes things really easy. But if you like, for example, the Jack the Gripper thing, it holds the output jack and allows you to tighten the little nut that, the really pesky thing. You know who could use that right now? Jimmy on that his Ampeg bass. Oh, yeah. It's got that floppy around the jack. So would see, I could buy this thing and it could pay for itself in one repair.
One.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So if you're
which really means that when JJJ brings that bass by, you're going to charge him whatever that tool costs to fix it.
Right?
I mean, that's what that phrase means.
That's what that means.
For itself in one repair.
Doc Siltonen sent $20 and said hot chicken for lunch. That's tomorrow. Dave's Hot Chicken, brought to you by our good friend from up north, the Great White North, Don Siltonen.
Man.
Well, there you go.
I do love some hot chicken.
So, Jim, you got it, baby. Hot chicken tomorrow. Black Dog Sheep wants to know what Ampeg bass. So it is the Ampeg Heavy Stud. It's not the Ampeg Scroll bass. It's not the Dan Armstrong. It's not the Devil bass. It's the Ampeg Heavy Stud.
I mean, it's actually really neat.
Yeah. It could use a tuner upgrade.
It needs some love, but the overall bones are there.
Oh, it's not the Heavy Stud. It's the Big Stud. Sorry.
Oh, the Heavy Stud was the guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The Big Stud.
The sounds like a wrestler, not a bass.
I remember the ads for that.
Do you?
Well, probably after the fact, but yeah, it's just a funny name.
Yeah,
I know. Let's call it the Big Stud and the Heavy Stud.
Okay,
stud,
mega stud.
That was almost like a 4-letter word when I was at our house. You couldn't say the word stud. That dude's a stud. Watch your mouth.
What are you talking about? For reals?
Yeah. Like I don't know.
Okay.
It's true. Yeah.
Right on.
Like I think there was some sort of connotation that it meant like gigolo or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just dirty talk. Even though
It's just, risque.
Yeah. Family came from horse people, but yeah.
All right.
That's a big stud.
Tell you, buddy.
He's a big stud.
So I'm not 100% sure if speaking of big studs, if Anthony Icavangelo at Flipside Music, the great American guitar store, I'm not 100% sure if he had a live stream today, but if he didn't, guys, I want to remind you to check out our sponsor, Flipside Music, the great American guitar store. If you're in the Denver metro area, you can do two things right now. One, you can go by the Legacy Shop and hang out with the guys, and you can even see some of my Ampeg gear is actually still for sale there.
Is it?
Some of it is, yeah. You can go see the new parking lot at the Destination Shop. So there is forward movement. It is slow but steady.
I would say that was 2 steps forward, 1 step back, which still means 1 step forward.
At least it's a step forward.
Correct.
Yeah.
In the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the guys over at Flipside are making progress on the Destination Shop. And guys, I have been inside the building. I can tell you it's going to be cool. It's going to be excellent. Okay. I don't know what's the matter with the city of Denver, why they're, giving him the business, but
they hate guitars. That's all I can
think of. Yeah, me too. So,
little known fact, Denver proper hates guitars.
Yep.
That's why we're in Westminster. You looked into Denver.
Doug Santaniello says, can you believe I couldn't send the super chat because I used the word ass? No.
When he said I got kicked in the rear.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
no,
really?
I had no idea. Yeah.
You can't say
Jimmy says he's going to send his Ampeg Mega Stud to you, Doug. And and if if Doug says something, that's money in the bank. If Jim says something, that's money in the bank. As there's a couple things I know that if there are certain people that if they say something, it is gospel truth as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's a for real thing. Anyway, okay, so let's see. We talked about Flipside Music, the great American guitar store. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about Odyssey Beer Works, the great American beer works, because my band Hawk Attack is going to be there performing tomorrow night. There's some other band too. I can't remember them. And
a band before you?
Yeah, some band. We're the headliner. Yeah. And Jim Jam Jimmy is now in Hawk Attack. So if you haven't seen, if you want to see what it's like to watch Jim like crank, like just dime everything and crank it and rock out, that Jim is the embodiment of rock out with your Hawk out. There's no two ways about that. But anyway, so we are going to be playing tomorrow night at Odyssey Beer Works in Arvada, Colorado at 9 p.m.
10th anniversary.
Thank you.
I really
totally spaced that out.
Yeah. The first time I ever saw Jim Jam Jimmy's band, and I didn't know Jim, and it was several years after that I did know Jim. I slid in there on my way to your place after going to see my sister. Actually just had to use the bathroom.
Okay.
Pulled in and it was jammed up, packed, full, barely got a parking spot, went inside, freaked out a little bit because it was so crowded, and some band was setting up, and it turned out to be Jim Jam
Jimmy. Okay.
Jim Jam Jimmy. And I was like, what the fuck is a Jim Jam Jimmy?
Before you get started,
when I left.
Before you get started cleaning tomorrow,
yeah,
I need you to do me a favor.
Okay.
Little known fact, Noah, Jim's guitar player in Jim Jam Jimmy, he's got that Colonel Sanders outfit. He's gonna be playing that Mike Learn Shrunken Head strat on Saturday, so we need to get that set up. Okay. Yeah. Just get that.
That's not a real thing.
Yeah. No, it's not a real thing. No, of course it's not a real thing. Yeah. It'd be funny if it was though, huh?
Yeah.
It could be a real thing.
Guy playing a Shrunken Head Shredder guitar.
Robbox says that I need to look for an email tomorrow. He may have a small issue. I need a quote. You got it, man. I am ready to receive, sir. Brad Hutchings says originals. I think we are going to be doing. I don't think we're doing any covers except for one, Wang Dang Sweet Poontang, which is an excellent song. Oh, yeah. So Hawk Attack is mainly originals.
Mainly originals.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's
but
all,
they're so good you feel like you've heard them before.
It's basically beer commercial rock.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Drinking beer, going to parties, and trying to get some. That's basically what Hawk Attack is in a nutshell. So anyway, all right. So we talked about
why you didn't get some.
Trying to finger people. So anyway, so it is. So we talked about Flipside Music, the great American guitar store.
You shouldn't say that.
We talked about
fingered you right here.
We talked about Odyssey Beer Works, the great American Beer Works, 10th anniversary tomorrow and all weekend, party all weekend. Come on out if you guys are in town.
I'm going to be at Odyssey a lot this weekend.
Are you?
Well, yeah, because I'm going to come see you guys, and I'm going to go see JJJ.
You should
Saturday.
You should just bring a change of clothes to it. You could just stay at the house tomorrow night. You should just make a plan.
There's talk of me going biking on Saturday, which I really want to do.
Oh, okay. So, you should do that then too.
But anyway,
you'll have to use what us big boys like to call self-control. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So let's also talk about. I received a package yesterday from Dan and Calvin at Tonewood Experts, and it is beautiful tops for our carved top workshop. And guys, if you use the code Texas Toast 15 at checkout, you can go and get 15% off anything in your cart at Tonewood Experts. Dan and Calvin are super cool guys. They've got lots of neat stuff. You said they got a super bunch of cool bird's eye too.
Bird's eye, yeah, neck blanks.
Ooh,
yeah,
like, and they're like super birdie eye. Okay,
yeah, really nice. Like 300 of them, big pallet.
And they're like loaded with BEs. Maybe I should check that out. Because I'd kind of like to get on some of that too. Yeah. And then so I immediately drove them out to Steve at Maximum Guitar Works to have him do a little bit of prep work for us for the carved top workshop. And he's also doing some stuff for us on the neck blank for if you like. So Doug Seidlitz paid for the 5-piece neck blank upgrade. Steve's helping us out with that too. So he's doing some stuff for us because he's got a great big factory and guys who work there who, like, hey, do this. And so, and of course, Steve will be making all of Steve made all the templates that we'll be using for all of our workshops from many, many months ago to the foreseeable future. I can't imagine not using Maximum Guitar Works templates. Can you, Chris?
No.
Yeah, they're that good. And guys, if you sign up for the $400 guitar building contest, you get $100 worth of free templates from Steve at Maximum Guitar Works. So your entry fee is basically covered if you're going to get that stuff anyway. It's basically free. The other person that I want to tell you guys about, one of the other people I want to tell you guys about is Dylan McCurchie at Dylan Pickups. Dylan Talks Tone. Dylan and his wife, Leslie, his lovely wife, Leslie, go on right after us tonight. And who knows what they're going to be talking about? Probably something super cool. But gang, if you sign up for the $400 guitar building contest, you get 40% off pickups from Dylan Talks Tone, Dylan Pickups. And even if you don't want to do that, you can use the link in the description below and get 10% off right now your next order from Dylan Pickups. What's the coolest part about Dylan Pickups, Chris?
The coolest part about Dylan Pickups is that Dylan is the guy that makes them. Mm-hmm. His name is on the company. He does the work.
Yeah.
Which is really neat.
I think it is really pretty neat because it's not often that you can find that these days.
No, there's some little guys, but I would say Dylan is bigger than a little guy. And it's just one of those cool things, That's I think part of the reason for wanting custom stuff is because you want the guy that whose name is on the building.
Yeah.
And that's more and more a rarity.
It is rare. So a couple of things. Peter Davenport says he just got 3 templates from Steve and they're the business. Got the discount too. Thanks, guys. You're very welcome, Peter. And Doug Santiago says that Dave did send the cheese. So eat with confidence, Chris.
Until I hear it from Dave. Not that I don't trust Doug.
Yep.
You know, I'm gonna wait on the cheese.
I think you should go ahead and
But
eat the cheese.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I think you should take a big chaw of the tomato basil cheese right now.
I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna wait until lunchtime tomorrow or next week.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be
It's
time
not
to
gonna
eat.
go bad.
I'd also like to thank the good people at Bitterroot Guitarists. Those good people are specifically John and Cheryl. Their last name isn't Bitterroot, but it's Bitterroot Guitars. And guys, I have been using truss rods from John and Cheryl for over a decade.
Yeah.
And I have never had one fail.
Nope.
We
even tried to make one.
we
fail,
did,
and
yeah.
It didn't work.
We broke it, but it didn't fail, if that makes
I think
sense.
We bent the wrench.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I wouldn't want to put it in a guitar, is what I'm driving at.
After we
Yeah, it wasn't.
Well,
I mean,
no.
it was. Yeah,
No, but that was kind of a little bit of a game changer
absolutely.
in a lot of ways.
One of the things that we decided about truss rods, and this is a testament to John and Cheryl at Bitterroot Guitars. And by the way, if you use code TXTOAST at checkout, you get 15% off your order of truss rods or anything else that they have. But we were actually making our own truss rods for a while, and we were like, "To hell with this! What can we just buy?"
Yeah.
And then it became, well, we need something. We needed to do everything that a truss rod does: adjust the neck and hold it there, and not break, and not be $50.
Not be $50 and be consistent in its shape.
Yeah. So enter Bitterroot Guitars, and actually, our friend Mike Learn hipped us to John and Cheryl at Bitterroot Guitars.
There you go. Another Mike Learn.
Another Mike Learn moment.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I don't. How many hundreds of truss rods do you think we've used from Bitterroot? And here's a sub question: how many thousands of truss rods have other outfits used? You guys have heard these names before. They're names that you're familiar with. They rhyme with Taylor and Kiesel and some others that you've heard of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same truss rod. I don't know. It seems weird to nerd out over truss rods, but it's a pretty important part.
There's a handful of things I will nerd out over.
And it's there's only so many different ways to do it.
Yep.
Only so many different truss rods. And really, it's a truss rod. It doesn't have to be super, super, super fancy. It just has to work really, really well.
So Rusty Fenders is coming tomorrow. He says that seasoned swine is going to be there. He's going to get his barbecue on. Brad Hutchings says this is for the Toys for Tots. Cheese for children.
This is not. It expires before Christmas. Otherwise, I would believe you, Brad.
We don't have
10/23.
We don't have cheese for children, but maybe we should start that
as a cheese
donation.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I'll probably forget before it's. Yeah, but you guys get the idea.
Yeah. Oh boy, cheese.
Man,
I remember some Christmas mornings
cheese.
going down.
And, and there was a big
stocking full of cheese.
That's terrible.
And being indisposed the rest of the day.
Sure. Yep.
Blocked up till New Year's.
All right. Who am I forgetting besides our good friend in Queensland, Australia? Nigel Forstner at Forstner Guitars. By the way, gang, I haven't read it yet. Have you guys read Nigel's new ebook? Link in the description below. Check out Nigel Forstner's book on making a living woodworking and making a living building musical instruments. I haven't done that because I've been kind of busy with, life's gotten in the way, and there's been a lot of good TV on lately. Specifically, Ted Lasso is what I'm watching now. But if you guys have read that, let me know how it is. I need to go check it out. And Nigel's a cool guy. He's a cool dude, and he makes the kind of the automatic fret end filing for hemispherical fret ends.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I do not advise you to do if it's your first time doing it.
It's hard and very, very finicky. Remember that part where everything gets smaller? That takes, this small down to this small, instantly. Red Guitar Miller.
Doug says that he definitely, that Dave definitely sent it. So
okay.
Okay. Who else am I forgetting? Who am I forgetting? Brad Guitar. Thank you, Brad Guitar Miller. Pedal to the metal guitars. Guys, if you're entered into the $400 guitar building contest, even if you're not, Brad Guitar Miller is offering his Telecaster control plates, loaded or not. He's got them. He's practically giving them away. There,
He's got those.
Yeah.
He's got.
Oh yeah, what else has he got?
Like parts holders.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These.
Mm-hmm.
Those are fun.
Yep.
And last but not least,
Red Lobster. Thank you to Red Lobster for
our newest
sponsor.
Yeah.
Oh, so not Red Lobster.
Brian Duncan.
Brian Duncan. Of course, it's Brian Duncan. Yeah, not Red Lobster.
No,
that would be
that place is a sick joke compared to Brian.
Compared
Duncan.
to Dave's Hot Chicken.
And Dave's Hot Chicken.
Well, we should be sponsored by Dave's Hot Chicken.
Yeah, Red Lobster and Dave's Hot Chicken sponsor us.
We need to have Dave's Hot Chicken
sponsor
the workshops. Oh, weekly Dave's Hot Chicken.
If we can get them to deliver, because frankly, during a class, it's too far away.
I bet you we could get one of these guys to drive down to Dave's. Just saying.
Order the combo to go.
Uh-huh.
Yep. 10-person combo.
Okay. All right, gang. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us. What?
Dave's by the pound.
Dave's by the pound.
Just like barbecue.
Thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. Please go over and check out Dylan at Dylan Talks Tone and hang out with Dylan and Leslie McCurchie for the next hour, or who knows how long they're going to go. Join us tomorrow for the reveal of the StewMac 335 kit. And remember, Brett is going to be rocking out at Odyssey Beer Works tomorrow with that guitar. We're handing it to him and saying, here, go play. And Brett's the kind of crazy guy who'll do it.
He'll do it. Yep.
Anyway, gang, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you tomorrow.